oh, well, shit. I mean, the whole idea of witnessing and why we watch porn or erotica is also to elicit images, elicit fantasy, elicit ideas, and then learn from those and then try it. How can sex parties save your marriage? Hi, I'm Dr. Catalina. I'm a psychologist specializing in sex and relationships. And today I want to talk about sex parties and what they are, what happens to them, and how they may be a great medicine for your relationship. So let's dive in. Sex parties are like an adult Disneyland. I think that there's a party for everyone, just like Disneyland. The variety of people who go to Disneyland, literally on their own with families, all ages, varies. And I think that I see sex parties as the same kind of opportunity for adult play, a real opportunity for adults to explore their sexuality and to take some risks, all within a really safe container. I think that a lot of people think of sex parties, the first common assumption I think people have is that there's always going to be penetrative sex. And that definitely isn't always the case. I would say that particularly the people who are having sex are often couples, or they bring in somebody, they're already coming to the couples, unless this is an established sex party where, you know, it's a community, they're knowing each other and they're trying different things. But definitely, I think the biggest thing to know about a sex party is you don't even have to have sex. Like, you don't even have to touch anything. You can also it is welcoming to be a voyeur. I think that, and it's welcome to just, for people sometimes want to be performed. The whole idea around the sex is, one, it is a party. It is a fun, playful event. But everyone comes in to fill their wants and desires. And again, within the boundaries of others and sharing of that space. And so we'll definitely talk more about that. But there's no have-tos. And I think that's the biggest thing, because it can be really daunting to think about a sex party and I think the biggest thing people think about is also cleanliness. I know I think about that. And I'll just be honest, I've been to some BDSM clubs where I didn't actually find it to be clean enough for me. I know what was not necessarily that it's cum or vaginal juices, but that just body sweat. I personally have been to sex clubs where I'm not wanting to sit down. If I'm in just my thong or if I'm naked, I've had those thoughts. And so it's honoring that. It's honoring that everyone has different comfort levels, and it's finding a space that matches that. But sex parties, there's such a whole gamut of it. There's a whole gamut of it. What I think is missing a little bit, though, is a bit of the consciousness around. I think sex parties can be amazingly healing for a couple, when a couple is ready. I think that when it comes to all kink and exploring new things, I don't necessarily believe couples should always jump into the deep end. I think that you do need some just basic resources individually as well as a couple. So some considerations are, one, how effective are you at actually being honest with each other? And, couples always talk about communication is key. But the reality is that most couples are actually really good communicators, just not with each other, because there's a risk there. And if you're going to explore something like a sex party, it's being really clear individually what you want from it. What is your intention? And when I think of intention, I think, how do you want to feel during it? Not just what goals you want to have or things you want to do. How do you want your body to feel? Okay? And being really honest about that. Just like anything, being very mindful of how much you're doing something, or particularly engaging in a sex party where it is a space with others. It's a collective energy. It's a collective, bodies engaging. Not necessarily, again, touching everybody, but it is within that space. A lot of any pressure that you may think that there may be, expect that if you have a concern around that, then it likely may play out. So, one, the biggest consideration is being really honest. How honest are you with each other? And within that, when we think about consent, it's being really clear about being able to assert your desires, fears, and boundaries before during and after. And just like with any kind of BDSM activity or any kind of kink, knowing that your boundaries for a particular session or going to a particular party, they don't expand. They can get retracted, but it's not in that session that they get expanded, because it's in the moment when adrenaline is high and there's pressure that boundaries can get overstepped, okay? So I do think that the biggest consideration is being honest of, okay, what could be the implications of this? What happens when other people are approaching? Because again, the idea of sex parties can be like, well, not just the idea, the reality of it is that it is a public space. I mean, privately public, but you are going out to share this and explore this and witness this in others too, and will be witnessed. And how comfortable are you individually with that? And how much do you want to share? And to me, there can be so much beauty in that, mostly because of that collective energy. We know that with collective neuroscience, we know that when the frequency of others, more than two people, and then the more people, whoever is at the higher frequency, others join. And so the beauty when we're thinking about sex parties is that generally there are going to be people who are experienced, and then obviously the facilitator should be fairly experienced in holding that space and encouraging that openness and that relaxation. And then that allows other bodies to feel safe within that. And then that's where the curiosity can come, and that's where the expansion come. But first and foremost, couples, like, they don't need to be as fluent as I am in this. That's not the expectation. It's, can you be honest? Can you be, and how comfortable are you in saying your no's as well as your yes? The couples I've worked with, it's been a progression of getting them ready and then trying these things, whether it be like actual sex party or tantra retreat. And it's a sharing. We're going into this together, knowing we are going to have individual experiences, but we're supporting each other within it. And again, that means even if you're not doing anything with anyone else, but it's an honoring of each person's individual sexuality and how that also can be shared. And so to me, to do that in a supportive environment, but also where the frequency is higher, where that sexual energy is just around and you're getting the support of that, I perceive it almost as if you were like bouncing around in a bed of down pillows. Like that's what you have. You have all of that support and all of that comfort that normalizes anything is okay, right? And it also will jog like, oh, well, shit. I mean, the whole idea of witnessing is, and why we watch porn or erotica is also to elicit images, elicit fantasy, elicit ideas, and then learn from those and then try it. Well, I'm a big believer that additive activities, whether that be sex parties or getting into BDSM and definitely opening up a relationship, isn't great when the foundation is rocky. The foundation always needs to be addressed. That basic trust and that sense of safety has to be fostered first. That's the main thing I work with clients. So many people think, oh, you work around sex and you work around sexless relationships. What kind of crazy sex stories do you hear? It's actually more couples just feeling so disconnected, so alone, and so scared of actually being honest about their needs, wants, and desires. And so it's really making sure that that's there. So couples, if you don't feel like you can be honest, that you are your indicator. And it's honoring that. It's okay. Your body's protecting you for some reason. It doesn't feel safe yet. You've got to figure out how to bring that safety to it and then how to nurture the relationship so that that's safe enough to endure this. And so I do think that sex parties can be a part of that journey. And there isn't some like pinnacle of safety that anyone gets to. I mean, so much of what we're building is our resilience and how we ride the waves of getting really, really scared and being able to move through that to continue to expand. Well, I've gone to sex parties with partners as well as on my own. And I gotta say that there's pros to both. and I've enjoyed aspects of both. I do think that it's a lot of my experiences really haven't felt that there's always been a sacredness to it. I think that initially when I started exploring these, there was such a educational component to it for me. And when I'd get approached and I didn't feel as open to or ready necessarily, and outright just as attracted to some of the people who were approaching me. Yeah, so, one, I'm going to be talking about sex parties a lot. And so if people want to learn more about that, then one, follow my page, subscribe to this channel, and know that I'm planning on organizing some sex parties here in LA and helping people actually figure out how to get ready for them, how to integrate after them. And really, that's the community that is missing around this, is this sense of consciousness without it having to be necessarily even spiritual or too much woo-woo. I think that there is a way to explore our sexuality for that to be actually sacred and honored and clean and pure without it being that you have to wear necessarily a white robe or white linen. And I think that there's a lot of extremes here of what I've seen, and so much of what I'm wanting to bring into the space is very much a middle ground, a little bit what's more my style, and what I think is a big gap in what's missing. So check out, follow me in the Intimacy Doc. Go check out my website and join my mailing list. And I will be talking about events that are going to be happening this summer.